Could you teach your child everything he'd learn in school? More parents are homeschooling, and the learning goes beyond the textbook.
It's life, and that's what we're learning about.
Find out why homeschooling is growing and the challenges for parents and students. Tonight at 10.
Applies.
Could you teach your own children? More parents are homeschooling here in Alabama and across the country. Tonight at 10, ABC 3340's Sherry Evans takes an in-depth look at why more parents are taking their children's education into their own hands. What are they teaching, and how do they know their children are learning the right things? Some parents say there are many benefits.
Got the educational benefits for your kids because it's that one-on-one tutoring, and it can be molded to their style. But it's the emotional benefits, too, of knowing what's going on in your kids' lives.
Be sure to check out our full report tonight on the Night Team News at 10.
More parents in Alabama are taking their children's education into their own hands with homeschooling.
And there are many groups in the Birmingham area that support parents and their children. ABC 3340's Sherry Evans takes an in-depth look into this way of learning.
Homeschooling is growing. One program called Classic Conversations is expanding. There are 9 programs in the state this year and 16 slated for 2013. I wanted to find out the motivations behind homeschooling and what children are learning about.
Washington, Adams, Jefferson, 12, 16, Constitutional Conventions, America's Founding Fathers.
They learn that it's not just about what's in a textbook. It's not just school. It's life, and that's what we're learning about. What's it say on the back of the cupcake?
Most children can't wait to tell their parents what they learned in school.
I really like history when we're learning about like the kings and queens.
Because they give each cell its...
But these siblings learn most everything they know from the only teacher they've ever known, Mom.
Point to the mitochondria you drew on your cell diagram.
I wanted my kids to love learning. I didn't want them to be bored with learning or to just have to learn certain things.
So Karen Cunningham started homeschooling. It was numbers that made her think about homeschooling before her children were born.
I worked in college admissions and really saw how the college was wanting to get homeschoolers because the test scores were doing so well.
Oh, there we go.
But how does a mom go about schooling her own children to get that result? And are they learning the right things?
There's so many helps out there. There's so many different curriculum choices, and they're just excellent groups that review it. So there's a lot of ways to use a curriculum that's done the hard work for you and supplies a lot of that information.
To legally homeschool in Alabama, Cunningham says you must be a certified teacher or your child must be enrolled in a cover school, which is often a church school that tracks attendance.
Until we get to the high school level, the state of Alabama doesn't impart restrictions on exactly what your curriculum is or exactly what classes your child is taking.
There are also support groups. Cunningham relies on a faith-based program called Classical Conversations. She's the director of the Trustville program, where moms and children get together to discuss several subjects.
It kind of meets the need to make sure that the homeschooling families are covering everything they need to cover.
Homeschoolers also do achievement testing, and what you may not realize is a majority of learning is outside the home with other children.
Now look around. What do y'all see?
It's called homeschooling, but a lot of times it's mobile schooling.
They meet up for field trips like this science outing at the Botanical Gardens. Many moms say one advantage to homeschooling is their children interact with various ages.
Classroom teachers, I respect them so much for what they do every day. But the best classroom teacher in the world can't know my kids as well as I do, and can't possibly love them and want them to succeed more than I do.
Well, they have a set curriculum that they have to follow.
Cindy Warner is with Shelby County Schools. She understands the benefits of homeschooling, but says the same success may be found through public education.
We certainly are supportive of parents that make that decision. Obviously, we feel that, we have a lot to offer in the public school arena as well, and that we're going to, give the child a very good education.
An education filled with elements and experiences she says homeschoolers might not receive.
In a classroom setting, you're going to get the benefit of hearing the discussion and the dialogue that's taking place among other students with the teacher.
Every now and then, Cassie Cunningham thinks about public school, but enjoys learning with her family.
There's always something to do. We never are bored.
So what are the lysosomes?
Every day is a new learning opportunity, one that every parent has their own choice to make.
It's such a rewarding experience. It's kind of like the Peace Corps, the toughest job you'd ever love.
In Alabama, homeschoolers are registered in around 100 cover schools, and that's not counting all the various co-ops and other para-organizations that assist homeschoolers. Sherry Evans, ABC 3340.
All right, thank you, Sherry.